Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. So if you're following along this playlist, you'll see that I am taking day by day episodes of my trip up to Austin, Minnesota and back to Fort Worth last October and November. A trip that took me 52 days to get there and back. Of course, I did some mooch docking in the driveway for a week, but most of it was spent in state parks, national parks, Corps of Engineers, and a couple of Boondockers welcome, which I want to talk about a little bit more today, but we'll get to that in a minute. So here you can see another piece of the map that is provided by RV Trip Wizard. I've zeroed in on the two spots that I stayed at for several nights. The F in the upper right hand portion of the map is where I stayed at a Boondocker site. Boondockers welcome site, which was a person's private driveway, and that was a very pleasant stay. Very nice gentleman was there, and we had a conversation about his RV and mine, and his accommodations were great. Down the road a ways to the south, you'll see the little icon of a Corps of Engineers, where I stayed for several nights. Of course, the Corps of Engineers I can find on RV Trip Wizard, but in order to find a Boondockers welcome site, I have to go to that application, run that program, and once I've found that, then I can move it over to the RV Trip Wizard and customize a stop that I plan on staying at, and RV Trip Wizard will incorporate it into my trip. Now in this picture you see these black objects, I think are supposed to represent some kind of a Class A camper or something like that. But each one of these icons is a site where a Boondockers welcome host will offer up a parking space for somebody who would like to come and stay there for free and boondock in their driveway, front yard, backyard. I've stayed in cow pastures, driveways, and it's really worth the annual subscription fee of I think less than $40. I've used it 3 times now just on this trip, so it's paid for itself just right there, and I've met some really nice like-minded people. It's very interesting. But you'll see the icon up there closer to St. Joseph is the one I selected because I wanted to make a big detour around Kansas City. I made the mistake of going through Kansas City on my way north, and it was really not comfortable for even my 17-foot trailer and my Dodge Ram 1500. Just too twisty, windy, turny, narrow lanes, and tons of traffic, and so I highly recommend you avoid going through Kansas City. And I gave it wide berth on my way there. So I don't have much footage of this Boondockers welcome site that I stayed at. I want to protect the privacy of the individual who offered up his property for me to stay at. So I will not include any of that here, but coming up I have some footage of the Corps of Engineers park that I stayed at the next night. So the weather was kind of overcast the next day. This is about the 12th of November, I meant to say. And this is Lost Town Corps of Engineers on Perry Lake, I think it was. And the weather turned great the next day, and the lake was very pretty, and there were very few people there. I don't think it was even 10% full, with maybe 3 or 4 neighbors over the course of a couple of days. Here I am with the bike cam again, going at 8x speed to cover this quickly and not bore you to death, but I had driven out of the camping area and around a American Legion, where you saw a couple of military vehicles, and here I've driven back into the camp and quickly drove around the boat launch area, and now I'm back in the camping loops. And part of it was shut down because of a flood they had a couple years ago. So this part was actually closed. You can see there's piles of driftwood that was washed up onto the camping area. So like I said, that part of the camping area was closed, but it made for a lot of firewood that I'm sure they appreciated me picking up and taking care of, because it was much, I'm sure it was quite a nuisance for the camp host. So I made a fire and heated up some leftovers. These are some leftovers my sister sent me on my way with, that I'm heating them up over a campfire. I think I ended up staying here 2 nights. The campsite and the whole park is not really very big, so I explored just about everything there is to see in the couple of days that I was there. Fortunately, the weather was real nice. I believe it was still up into the 50s and even 60 for most of my stay in this park. If I recall correctly, the water was turned off, but the electric was still on, and it was something like $8 a night with my America the Beautiful pass. So the next day I got on the road and drove over the lake on this bridge, and you can continue watching this playlist and you'll see where I end up next. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you care to. And I will see you down the road.